saw 4 different types of stored procedure in terms of parameters. So the first one was in which we create a stored procedure and you don't need to pass any parameter value. So like it can do a simple task like you have to read a table with some clause and all, or only few fields of table. You can just create a stored procedure and just call that stored procedure. So it will do perform that query. So you don't need to pass any parameters in that. The second part was the stored procedure with only one input parameter. So in this, you can put a where clause kind of stuff. So where you can just pass an input parameter, and it would perform your query based on that the equation you have given. So whenever you change the value, the output would change. So these kind of these are with single parameters. Then we have another that has the output parameter. So you are not going to give any input, but you are going to get an output from it. So it's like when you need to find a maximum or some mathematical function that in which the record is only one. You are getting only one output. You can use this this kind of stored procedure. So it will just give you the output. You just call it and give a parameter. That parameter will store the value of the output, and you can just do a select and parameter name with its value. And the last was in and out parameter. So in this stored procedure, you will give both input and output variables. So you will input a value based on for the condition you want to give, and you will give the output as well. So it will just store the output and give you the result. So today what we are going to do is we are going to for the stored procedure in which we are going to use various functions like if functions and case function and loops. So let's start with the if function. So now we are going to create a stored procedure in which we are going giving both in and out parameters. So our input parameter is customer number, that is an int, and our output parameter is customer level, that is a character. Also in the stored procedure we are declaring a variable called customer level C level, that is whose value is decimal 10 to 10 comma 2, basically 2 places of decimal, and the default value is 0. What we are doing is we are reading our customer table, and we are checking if the customer number is equal to customer ID. We are taking its grade into our parameter which we declared, C level. So we have different types of grade. Like for customer table, this is a customer ID. We are comparing that with the customer number, and we are taking a grade in the C level. So we have 100, 0, 300, 200, these types of grades. We are passing that grade into C level, and then we are putting a if clause. So if C level is greater than equal to 300, then the customer level is platinum, else the customer level is not platinum. So basically we are reading our table, and we are putting a set of conditions in our stored procedure. So when we just run this, now our stored procedure has been created, and let's check for our first customer 3001. For 3001, the grade is 0, so it should come at non-platinum category. If we run this, so it's not platinum. So once we change it to and run this again, so let's look at 3000 is 100. That's why let's go for 300. So you can just input your if clause in the stored procedure. So whenever you call a stored procedure, it will read the query as well as it will just perform the if task. Any doubts in this part?
No, sir. We can proceed.
So the next is we are going for a case function. So it's similar like if function. So here what we are doing is we are getting the shipment, how much time will it take for the shipment based on the cities they are, the cities the customer are. So what we are doing is first we declare the same customer number and we are getting taking output variable of p-ship. Then we declared a variable called customer city. So it's a simple query that if the customer ID is equal to customer number, we'll take the city into the customer city, and then we have our case clause. So when the city is New York, make it it's a 2-day shipment. When it's Paris, it's a 3-day shipment. Else, it's a 5-day shipment. We'll just run this query. So our store page has been created. Now we'll just pass the customer ID. So if we pass 3002 customer is in New York. So it would come as 2-day shipment. Let's try that. Let's try some other customer. So 3004 is in Paris and 3009 is in Dubai. Paris is 3-day shipment. This was if clause and a case clause. So any doubt in these two?
Swap around. So first you are calling the store procedure, then you are just giving the select statement at C, right?
Yeah.
So can't we just, for example, city, you are just going to the other sheet and referring what is that? So can't we show like select at C, comma like city or something? So everything in a single row or something, the same result.
You can do like this. Both of them and run this click on this function, so it will execute both of them. So it's, here you have 5 days.
Okay, we can't merge these two, right? So this actually with that existing table.
No, you can't merge a single output with a table. You have to go for a join or union. So you create some join union, then you will see.
Okay.
Swap, what if we give like select star comma @C from customers?
Yeah, okay. But the same output is coming for all.
Yeah.
Okay, understood.
Okay, so what you wanted it that it would read the complete table, and for each customer it should give what would be the days. Did you want something like that?
Yeah, now we got idea like what I want. Now we can just select star at C from customer where customer ID equal to 3009. I will get whatever I wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. So these were the if and case statements. Now let's move to the loops. Let's start with our first normal loop. So here what we are doing is we are creating a store procedure named loop demo. So we have so it doesn't have any parameters and all. So what we have done, we have declared two variables. One is x, so one is string. So we have set their values. X equal to 1 and string is blank as of now. Then we are running the loop. So for loop you have to give the command loop, and loop label is being used here like a go-to statement. If you know what the go-to statement is, so I think everyone know the idea of what is go-to statement.
Swapnil, I'm not very familiar with go-to.
Okay, so whenever you create a multiple modules, so in between, so there's some condition and you want to bypass one module. So let's say you have 3 modules A, B, C, and there's a set of condition that if A is done, then if that condition satisfies, so instead of going to B, just directly move to C. So in that you give a go-to statement.
Okay, got it. To skip certain specific parts of the program.
Yeah. So whenever you go for a go-to statement, you need to give a label. so that the program can identify from where to start. So right
Yeah,
like
got it, got it.
I have given loop label.
So if X is greater than 10, then it will leave that.
Yeah, it will leave this loop
That
label and it will come out.
Got it, got it. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So if x greater than n, it will leave our loop, and what we are doing is we are setting x equal to x plus 1, and then we are dividing it. We are taking a mod of x divided by 2, so it will always show even numbers to us. Then the value which we are getting, we are concatenating them, and we are doing iterate loop table. So if x mod 2 is true, then it will go to loop level and will start again. Else it will just concatenate the value of x in the string. And we have put our select statement as well inside the loop, so it will give you the output directly. So if I just run this, and now if I call this, so it will give you all the even numbers: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Any doubt in this part?
Swap, just an extension. I'm not sure if you're planning to ask it, do it. But how can we loop around the rows in a particular table?
Around the rows in a particular table.
Yeah. Just like, for example, in the previous case where we are looking at cities and giving the there is a simple way to do this. Obviously, we can just write the condition, but if we have to loop around a particular set of 10 rows in a table and see based on the different columns in each row, and we have to generate another column based on set of conditions. Okay. Is it just curious, is it possible for us to loop around in the table, like for every row ID in the table?
So basically, yeah, you can do that. So what you can do is you can read your table and you can use the output. So you are just, for example, you have to process some based on the customer ID. So you read your table and use that output as a parameter in your store procedure. So you have to make 2 store procedure. One will read the output. So my next example is similar to that. So I'm calling a store procedure within a store procedure.
Okay.
You can do that as well. So let me go to that example, and we can come to this question then. Okay, yeah. So for this example, what I did was I created a table. Drop this table. What we'll do is we'll create a new table called calendar. So it will have ID, full date, and days, month, quarter, year, and our primary key would be ID. So we have created a table, and if it was select on this table, so we don't have any value as of now. So what we wanted is we will give this program a date and a tenure. So for example, let's say I am giving today's date, and I want from today till next 10 days. I want all the dates in this table, but what is the day, what is the month, quarter, and year differentiated in that. So what we'll do is we have created a table. Now I am creating my first store procedure. So what that is, insert calendar. What it will do, it will just perform an insert task. So insert into calendar the values, and the value would be dt extract. We are extracting the days, month, and other parts from it. So we'll create this is our first simple store procedure. I'll just create this one. So our first store procedure has created. now let's move to our second step procedure. So this is load calendar. So here we'll give our start date and we'll give the day. So basically they will define the intervals. Then we'll declare our counter, that is 1, and we declare a date, a function date, at whose default values are the start date which we have given in the stored procedure as a parameter. So what we'll do, we'll run our counter, we'll call our previous stored procedure here. So whenever we pass a date, we'll call our previous stored procedure. That is a simple insert stored procedure. So it will just insert the values, and we'll just add a counter plus 1, and it will go on till our counter has reached the number of days. So right now, like we have just given 10, so we get 15, 20. So based on that, it will just insert the dates. So let's create this part as well. Okay, this is stated, and let's take today's date. And for next, let's see 5 days. If I run this now, so our query is run. Now previously our calendar was empty. So if I run this our calendar now, you can see 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have Firebase, and we have the part of them as well. So similarly for your query, you can do similar way. So you can create one stored procedure that can perform the tasks you want, and create another stored procedure that will just read your table and get the column.
Got it. Yeah.
So any doubt in this part? And so in both the previous one and this one, we are using a different loop. So here we are just using the loop function, while in here we are using a while loop. So any query? This?
No.
No.
Now the last is the repeat loop. So here it is also the loop, similar loop. We are passing two variable in with default value 1 and varchar. So here what we are doing is we are just concatenating the value of it in the in our result variable, and just doing a counter plus 1. So but we are using a different loop. We are using a repeat loop here. So the syntax is repeat. You set your condition until basically the clause of, and then end repeat. So it will just count. It will just work till the counter is 10, and when it's greater than 10, it will just come out. Equal to 10, it will just come out. So let's create this one. This is created, and if I just call this loop, so we have 1 to 9. So these were different types of loops which we have. One is the repeat loop, one is the while loop, and the other one is the loop. So
Can you go to the repeat loop once?
Yeah.
So first it starts with 1 as a counter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Once it's come to 10, it still satisfies that condition, and it try to redo that set results again.
No. If the counter is greater than equal to 10, it will get out of the repeat until there's an until condition.
Okay.
So when it get equal to 10, it will just end repeat.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, every loop has its own syntax. So in loop function, we are not giving any what we say condition. So it will just run the loop. So that's why we use a leave function here. So that will tell to leave the this label and go to end loop. In while loop, we'll give the condition with the while statement, and in repeat loop, we'll give with the end repeat.
So when we do a loop swap in SQL, does it go through one row after another? Is that what it does? What is it looping? Okay.
So everything within this is running. It will first check the first line. So if the first line satisfies, it will just leave the loop. It won't come here.
No. I see. I understand the line by line. It is executing, but once it goes to the next loop, is it going to the next row?
Next loop means
Next row. I mean, so for example, you finish the loop, right? So here it is saying, if x is greater than 10, right?
Yeah.
Then leave. Otherwise, sort of end it.
it will
Right?
go to set.
It will go to set after that. Okay. And then set x is, then iterate loop label. Okay, it's going there. Okay. Then else. Okay, concatenate and so on and so forth. But after that, after x is, let's say x has gone from 1 to 2, then what is x here? I'm just trying to understand. So does it go to the next row, or what is it looping in?
So currently, yes, here we are just iterating. X is an iterator, and we are iterating on that number.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
just
X is just
executing just there.
Yeah, x is just number whose initial value we have set to 1, and it
Okay.
will continue till the value gets to 10.
Okay, got it. So it is like a regular program, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, all right,
So,
sounds good. Okay.
Yeah, these functions, I just want to explain that what are different kinds of loops and how we can just set a condition in them.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, so this is what I planned for today.